guys, today we're going to be talking about this holster right here and kind of my philosophy on when leather holsters are a good option, when Kydex is a good option, and kind of just my thoughts on that. But I wanted to make a review on this holster specifically because this is the first leather holster I've used that I've actually enjoyed using, and I'll kind of talk about the reasons behind that. So this was sent to me by Craft Holsters. If you can see right there, Craft Holsters. They sent this out to me. They also sent me this cleaning kit. So just full disclosure there. But I wanted to tell you my thoughts about this holster specifically. So I've always kind of been a Kydex fan, and anybody who's watched my channel for a while or has known me knows I love Kydex. And this holster company actually sells Kydex holsters too, so if you're interested in something like that, go to their website. But I wanted to talk about this holster because while I've been using this for probably the past month or so, I've really enjoyed carrying this thing. And it was the end of the year, and so there was still a little bit of cold weather, and whenever I'm wearing a jacket, I like having a holster that I can get to easily. So kind of side story, one of the reasons why I carry appendix all the time is because, well, one, it's pretty comfortable, and then two, if I'm wearing just a t-shirt or something, it's easy to get to. But if I'm wearing a jacket, then you have to unzip the jacket, in order to get to your firearm or try to fight through multiple layers of clothing. So that's where something like this would come in handy, where it's underneath your jacket on your belt, say on the outside of your waistband, but your jacket's covering it. So I wanted a holster specifically that I could use pretty much as a concealed carry holster, but it was just on the outside of the waistband, which I don't currently have one that I'm satisfied with for that role. So again, they sent this out to me, and I've been using this for a while, and I absolutely love this thing. I want to talk about a couple different things specifically between this and a few other holsters I've used, specifically a Kydex holster that I have. And I've had this Kydex holster for a long time, and I've never really been super happy with it, but I just kind of use it as a range holster. But I want to kind of compare the two, just so you can kind of get a good idea of, what kind of holster you may like. But this one specifically, I'll go ahead and take it out for you. So you can see right here, it's actually made by Falco. If you can see that right there. Yeah, you can see it. It's made by Falco, but by Craft Holsters. And this is kind of more of your traditional style holster with a thumb brake. And I've seen a lot of people use these before, and I've had a couple holsters like this before, but I've never really been super happy with them, either because of the angle or how they were made, or they didn't have a snap. And I want to go over why I like this holster specifically. So, first things first, retention. So this is something I have a problem with the Kydex holsters that I've used in the past. So with Kydex, you generally don't have a level 2 or level 3 type holster retention. So with this one right here, you can see it's got a snap. So you just snap it in, locks in place. So other than the retention of the leather itself, which is actually pretty snug, you also have the second level of retention. So this would be a level 2 holster. That you can break open, then you can draw. So that adds a secondary level of security for if you, say, want to use this as, say, for an open carry holster, or if you want to wear it, say, under a suit jacket or underneath a regular jacket or something. It just makes it that much harder for someone to come behind you and grab your gun. And if you don't think that's an option, go watch. There's a bunch of videos out there you can find of people having their guns taken from them that are using holsters either like something like this, where it's just a Kydex holster, or just a really flappy junk holster that doesn't hold their gun securely. So one of the reasons why I want to mention that specifically is all the other leather holsters I've used in the past, with the exception of a couple, and the other couple that I've used were over $100 a piece, so they were very expensive. So these other leather holsters I've used in the past, they didn't have very good retention. So either they were very thin leather, and it was kind of almost that kangaroo pouch type material, and whenever you turn the gun upside down like this, shake it, and again, also, so you can't see, I'm not lying here, and you can see thumb brake is not snapped. It is not coming out. So the retention on this thing is awesome. On those other leather holsters I used, if you turned it upside down, the gun would more or less just fall out. So that's, to me, a sign of a junk leather holster. So this one passes that test, and so you can tell as I pull it out, it's very snug. And this is after I've actually stretched it and followed their break-in period protocol. So you basically just put this thing in a plastic bag, put it in there for a day or so, let it kind of stretch out the leather, and then it'll come out much easier, but it still has a great amount of retention. And it's really hard to find a holster that will fit a full-size gun with a full-size light on there that's made of leather. Even with Kydex, and let me show you the difference here. So if I pull this out, so this is just the Kydex holster. I don't remember who makes this one, but if you put this in here like this, you can see there's not a whole lot of retention here. So with a full mag inserted in here, if I were to take this, shake it, you can see right there, falls right out. And I've noticed a lot, and again, now you can see it's clear before I start messing with it again. No mag. Put that off to the side. So a lot of holsters I've had that problem with when it comes to Kydex. And it's just because the way the Kydex is formed, it actually locks on the light itself. So you can see it locks on the light itself. It doesn't actually lock on the trigger guard like traditional holsters were. And it's just because the way that's designed, the channel has to be really wide right here around the trigger guard. So that's just a drawback of Kydex holsters for full-size lights. So that's why I would never use this for concealed carry. Simply for that reason, it's too easy for it to fall out. And it's really easy because it has no second level of retention other than just friction for you to just be able to grab it out. So if you're wearing this, especially if you're an open carry type person and that's what you like doing, that's fine. But if you're carrying this open carry, and just know that if someone wants to take your gun and you're not paying attention, they're taking that gun. Very little chance of you being able to stop them. So that's one of the reasons why I like this holster. So if you wanted to open carry this, or even if you want to wear this, you know, open carry but with a jacket over, so technically you're concealed, I think this would be a better option than Kydex, because with this type holster, you're limited because you don't have any sort of strap that can go over the back. So your only type of retention on here is friction. So I don't like that. So with this type holster, again, and there are other holsters that are leather, but again, I'm reviewing this one specifically. This one has really good retention. So again, let me just put that mag back in so you can see. So I can shake this all day long. It is not coming out of there, and I'm shaking that really hard. So the retention on this leather holster is awesome. So I really like that. Now leather will stretch out a little bit over time, but this thing is very snug. I had to break it in quite a bit in order to get it to draw smoothly. So that's the sign of a good holster, which again, I'll talk about here in a second when using this break-in kit. So with leather, a good leather holster, if yours doesn't require breaking in, then that just means that thing, whenever it stretches out over time, it's just going to be super loosey-goosey, and you're not going to like that. It's not going to have good retention at all. So that's a sign kind of a bad holster. Again, one of the things I like about this is it has that secondary level of retention. So once this is in here and it snapped, and again, that's a very, very tight, snug fit. And I'll show you later how you kind of stretch this out and to form fit it for your gun. So having this secondary level of retention to me is super important because it's significantly harder for someone to come up from behind you to they have to get a good grip, they have to break this, and then they're gonna have to pull it out. And the nice thing about the angle of this, if you can tell, so with this holster, notice where the belt holes are, it actually sits like this in your belt, so it's angled more forward. So in order for someone to come from behind to grab it, they're gonna have to come in at a really awkward angle versus something like this Kydex holster. Notice it's just straight up and down. It's much easier to go behind and take this versus if it's on this one, if it's at an angle, even on snap, notice how their wrist is gonna have to be really cocked forward in order to grab that. And it's very hard, if not impossible, to draw it whenever it's facing this way. So that in and of itself also makes it a safer holster. And I'm really big on making sure your holster can only be, or your gun can only be drawn from your holster by you. If someone else can grab your gun out of your holster easily, then that's a bad holster design. So I really like the fact that this is canted forward. It makes it very comfortable. And I wear this one specifically. You could wear it at the 3 o'clock position if you want to, but I wear it at the 4 o'clock because that's, to me, where it's the most comfortable and it's the most concealable. So as you've seen in some of the other videos, I'm a very skinny dude. So having something that's concealable for me, especially this full-size duty gun, full-size light, the fact that I can conceal this on my skinny frame is a testament to how well this holster design is when it comes to concealed carry. So with this gun specifically, with this holster, when I carry at the 4 o'clock position, the difference between, say, something like this is, one, this thing is very hard on my hips and on my side whenever I wear it. So what I mean by that is it digs into me. So this holster, on the other hand, if you've never worn a leather holster for any long period of time, this is significantly more comfortable than something like this would be. This thing is just going to dig into your hip bone after 5 minutes of having this thing on. It's going to be extremely uncomfortable. And I actually have calluses multiple places on my hips and on my waist from my duty belt that I wear at work all the time. And I can't even wear this thing. And that just kind of shows how uncomfortable something like this is compared to how something this is comfort-wise. So when I'm wearing this, because again, it's canted forward, and again, that's a good holster design, whenever it's canted forward like this, the holster or the grip right here is more kind of in line with your body instead of sticking out behind your back, to where whenever you bend over or something like that, this is sticking out. So one, that makes it more concealable with this cant design. But also whenever you're sitting in a vehicle, a lot of people take off their holsters because they're just really uncomfortable when they're sitting in their vehicle and they're driving for long periods of time. I can wear this gun at the 4 o'clock position in this holster all day long driving. Did not bother me at all. And again, I'm used to driving around at work, with a level 3 holster, on my side all the time. And that's uncomfortable as it is, but this one is significantly more comfortable, which is another point I guess I wanted to talk about. The only other option, if you wanted something hard like this that wasn't leather, that has level 2 or level 3 retention, you're going to have to use something that's a duty style holster, and those things are just huge and bulky, and there's no way you're going to wear one of those comfortably. Now, I will say that comfort shouldn't be everything. It should not be the first priority on your list of what makes a good holster. It absolutely should not be. One should be retention. But comfort is up there. I mean, it is something that you need to have on your holster. Eventually, it's just farther down the list. But if your holster meets all those other good requirements, then comfort obviously does matter. Because I will wear this thing all day long versus wearing something like this is I'm going to want to take it off. So one thing too, I'll cover about this is y'all probably interested in price. Leather holsters are never cheap. This one is actually pretty fairly priced. And again, I'm a cheapskate whenever it comes. I'm a penny pincher when it comes to buying things. So again, the point of this channel is to find cheap stuff that's still good quality. And so they have these holsters, and I believe this one specifically is $85. They make other models that don't have the thumb brake, or they have other, that are not light bearing holsters, and they're a little bit cheaper. What I've noticed with leather though is you get what you pay for. Generally, anything under that price is not going to be the best quality, or it's not going to be the best fit. And one of the things I would kind of advise you stay against or away from are leather holsters that are kind of that like really thin leather and just kind of a kangaroo pouch and just kind of slide them in there. If you can't turn your gun upside down and do this without it falling out in your holster, like just trash that holster. So that's one thing, again, I like about this. Also, if you notice on here, and I'll show you this up close so you can just see the quality of this holster. The stitching on here is awesome. The snap, if you are curious to know how much it stretched, it was about right here. This is where the snap was. This is as far as I could get it to go around the gun initially. So I actually stretched it enough to where it would go about a good 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch before it would snap. So a good amount of stretching. And one way to stretch that, they have a video on their website, but you basically just take it, pull it, twist it as you're pulling really hard. Same thing with the other side. So that'll eventually pull it out. It took me, I think, about 30 minutes to 45 minutes to get this thing stretched out to where I was content, where I wanted it. So, again, your holster may vary a little bit, but that's something that's nice. Also, if you can see how thick this leather is, it's incredibly thick. And that, to me, is important. I'll insert some video clips of me shooting at the range, drawing, all that kind of stuff here a little bit. But I can push this in, but it immediately pops back into place. And that's just because the leather on here is thick enough where it's rigid. Still comfortable, but it's rigid. And that's important whenever, say you draw your gun and you have to reholster. Whenever you reholster, you don't want this thing to collapse on itself. If you've ever seen those, I don't remember what they're made out of. I think they're nylon holsters. They'll just collapse, and you have to try to, force the thing apart to try to insert your gun back in. That's a terrible design. You should be able to reholster your gun without sticking your hand in the way. So that's something that, again, I like with this holster, because it does not collapse, because that's just creating a dangerous situation for yourself. One other thing I'll go over real quick is you can get this from their website. It's pretty inexpensive. You can buy this from them. If you don't want to sit there and stretch, the leather out for, 30, 45 minutes like I did, you can buy this little kit. Let me pull it out. So it comes with this little dauber right here that you apply this break-in liquid. You can see right here, you just spray it on there, rub it on the leather, and you can kind of rub it in and while stretching it, and it'll help you stretch it out a little bit easier. So that's just something to just know they do offer that. So if y'all have any questions about this holster specifically, or if you guys have any ideas of things you'd like to see on this channel, let us know. Give us a like, give us a subscribe if you approve this kind of content. Again, we're always trying to look for more content out there to give to y'all. So hopefully y'all appreciate this, and if you have any questions, put them down below, and I'll answer all of them that I can. All right, have a good one.